Hey there, I'm going to show you a real quick stropping video. A strop simply is nothing more than a piece of leather glued to a piece of wood, and you put compound on it. There's a whole lot of compounds, but the green chromium oxide is the best that I've found for hard steels like tool steels to give them a polished mirror finish. Now you'll see razor strops which are just leather with a handle usually, and they flex. And that's a whole nother kind of strop in a barber shop where you're putting a convex edge on a shaving razor. So that's a little different, but it's the same concept. I just glue wood, leather to a block of wood. In my area, you can go to Hobby Lobby and get packs of leather for $6 or $7, and you're looking for something that's about 1/8 of an inch thick, that's sturdy leather. Normally, if you were going to order it online, you'd order veg tan, and you'd want remnants of veg tan, maybe the size of a belt or whatever you can get. You'll see sources on the internet, and you can glue that to a piece of wood just with yellow carpenter's glue. Works fantastic. I like the smooth side out. I think it's a little better. I've tried it both ways with the fuzzy side. Charge it and then just strop. And you've seen me do it in other videos, and other people do it in videos. Carving tools are particularly challenging to strop and sharpen. Particularly junky cheap ones like my Chinese ones. They have decent steel in them, but I've had to reprofile every one of them to a much flatter grind and then carefully sharpen them. And now these suckers can do, I do quite a bit with these cheap chisels for, you know, typical relief carving and gouging and so forth. So I don't do a lot of it, but I do spoon carving and some other things. I've done some relief carving. I do whittling. I use the little flex cut tools for whittling, and they're hard to sharpen, so the strop becomes integral to that. And I'll show you what I've done. It also works with flat chisels. You can of course do it by hand, and I like to do it by hand. It's probably my favorite way is to do it by hand, but I have done it in a drill. You'll see this set up here, but I'm going to zoom in a little better for you. I have a battery drill gently chucked in the vise. This is a Norton sanding pad. You can buy them. They're cheap, $5, $6, $7. You stick sandpaper to them. In my case, I looked at it one day and I said, well, why can't I stick leather to that? So sandpaper and all was already on there, stuck real good. I spray glued a piece of leather. I used this 3M Super 77 spray glue. A fantastic product. You spray both surfaces of anything you want to do. It'll even glue wood pretty well. But you spray both surfaces, so that's what I did here. Stuck a piece of leather, trimmed the circle pretty accurately. Now I have a motorized strop. Now you'll watch as it turns, it has a little bit of wobble in it. It's not a perfectly flat, perfect table, but it's plenty safe and plenty good to do what I'm going to do. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more and show you stropping a gouge and stropping a flat chisel. This DeWalt chisel is already sharp, but here's how I got it so sharp. And if you don't believe me, I will shave. I don't know if you can see that. It's just like shaving like a razor would shave. Okay? And I have mixed feelings about this chisel. My only real quibble with these chisels is they're just not long enough. They don't have enough reference surface to do what I want to do in furniture and cabinet making. I also like the bevel to come down more to the points. So I like that fine detail ability. If you were using them on dovetails, the smaller chisels are too clunky to fit in tight places. They are sturdy chisels though, and I said that in my impressions video that they could mortise, and I have used them to mortise, and they're good stout chisel, good metals. They take a good edge. I've looked at the edge. I use a loupe, a little jeweler's loupe, and I have looked at this edge, and I can vouch that it's not a jagged edge. It's a pretty fine grained edge. Part of the reason, though, is I've got it that way with stropping it, but it's capable. The steel is more than capable. So my really only big quibble with this chisel is the design, not the construction and quality of the chisel. So depending on what you're going to use it for, I can't say that I don't recommend these chisels, because I do recommend them depending on what you're going to use them for. I just don't recommend them as furniture and cabinet making chisels because of the length. But in other respects, it's a good chisel. But to show you how I strop it, you can come right up to it, lay the thing down, and you can see your angle really effectively. So, and then the drill is so easy to run on slow speed, you can just ease it along. And even though there's a little wobble in the table, that's not a problem. You can go like that and strop this chisel quite effectively. You can even lay it on its back if you want, in gentle pressure. Very light, less than a pound of pressure, and strop the back as needed, but the main is the front. And man, does it refine that edge to the ultimate. Well, it's the best edge the tool is capable of. Now here's the real thing with this. Gouges, I do them all the time by hand, just twisting them. And in fact, when I do the inside here, I put a piece of leather in my finger. I go like this. Charge it with compound. I can get the inside to a pretty respectable edge. This side is nice to do on the power strop. I can just roll it, because this is spinning, so it's in effect a trailing motion where it's coming off the piece. It's not biting into it, obviously, but that should be pointed out for some people that this is spinning away from it. As I'm looking down on it, this is going counterclockwise, so it's just like a trailing edge on a stationary strop, like this, pulling it backwards. You just roll it. You could set this up with very fine grits of sandpaper and use it to profile your edge, as I did with these very cheap Chinese gouges that happen to have decent enough steel, more than decent enough steel to be good gouges. They just come profiled so bad they're unusable. So they need flattened off a lot. They come way too blunt. Well, you could do as I did and put sandpaper in this, fine grits, 320, 400, and 600 grit paper, and re-profile this. Dip it in water frequently. Keep this cool. You have your finger on it so you can tell if it's getting hot. And re-profile this as I did to a much flatter grind like a proper chisel would be. And then your final step is this stropping, this polishing. But see how slow you can go. And man, you can just put a wickedly sharp edge that will gouge even the hardest woods. I've done spoons in Osage orange and it just gouges them right out. So it's just something to think about. If you have the wherewithal to put this together, I think you might have fun experimenting with this on some of your edge tools, especially small things like chisels and gouges, and take your sharpening to a new level. Thanks for watching.